So you're applying to a university or college and you have to submit some sort of supplementary application. How do you prepare for those, right? Because you don't, for a lot of programs, you don't know what kind of questions you're going to ask you. So, but at the same time, you want to make sure you do well during these supplementary applications. And there may be some programs that are that's going to have a timestamp on it. They may only give you 30 minutes or an hour to submit. So how do you prepare for those? So first and foremost, my tips is that you want to have a running list of extracurriculars. You want to have it in some sort of document so you can maybe copy and paste easily or have it on the side of your screen. Also make sure that ahead of going to the portal to submit your questions, make sure that you're able to use the rest of your computer still. There might be some application portals that kind of prohibits you from using the rest of your laptop, like it may lock Google Chrome, etc., all these other applications. So in those instances, you want to make sure you know ahead of time and print out any information that you're going to need in order to fill in the rest of the app once you're in the portal. So you want to have a running list of your experiences, your extracurriculars. You want to format it easily for you so you can know exactly how to answer those questions. And usually in the extracurriculars section, they're going to assess you on what did you do for this extracurricular. So you want to, in your little running document, you want to list out every extracurricular you ever had. You want to write out what your title was for that job. What was the name of the club or the organization, etc. And then have a little role description, right? You want to be able to say, like in this role I was the leader of the investment club. I oversaw the technology portfolio. I had X amount of analysts under me, and if you had any success or achievements in that role, you also want to list them out. And it's just an easy way for you to kind of reference this document if you have those extracurricular sections pop up in your application process, and you can just easily copy and paste or retype it in the portal as those questions come up, and so that you're not thinking of what you did on a whim. You want to take the time to actually really think about what were your achievements in those roles. What did you actually do? Were you in a people leader role? Like, did you have anyone under you? Did you play a leadership role, or did you play more of an analyst or just a side member? So really take the time to think about what the impact of each of those extracurriculars you had. And I would also suggest that as you're writing this list, after you're done writing it, let it sit for a while. Let you give it some time to think, to see if you missed anything. And if you haven't missed anything, then look at all these different extracurriculars you have, and then rank them. Which ones are the best sounding ones, right? Like which ones actually show your true potential, which ones allow you to show people that you are a true leader, you're capable of doing a lot of things, and rank them as your top 3 or 4 or 5, so that when you go into the application process for the sub apps, if they ask you to list 3, then write your top 3. If they ask you to list 5, then you know which ones are your top 5, and you can save a lot of time and just get through those questions easily. And then my second tip is that a lot of these application process also kind of will assess your writing style. They'll likely ask you a bunch of questions to assess your grammar, your how strong a communicator you are, etc. You may know the topics ahead of time on what they're going to ask you for in the writing questions, and you might not. For the ones that you don't know, make sure you read the news. Make sure you're well aware of what current events are happening. And if you're applying to a very niche program, or just make sure that you know the trends in your particular industry as well. So for example, if you're applying to a biotech program, make sure you know what the trends are in the biotech field, because they may ask you questions about what emerging fields do you think will boom in the next 20 years or 10 years. And you definitely want to make sure you're well aware of what the current trends are, and it shows in those written samples when a student is well prepared for their sub-app process versus the ones who just decided to log into their laptop and just decided to submit their application on that day without really any preparation. And then finally, the last tip that I will have for you is you also want to make sure you're feeling confident when you start this sub-app process. And in particular, especially if you need to record any video responses. Oftentimes in the video responses, we also assess on how strong the student is as a communicator. So you want to come off as confident. So before you actually decide to start the sub-app process, especially if it's timed, do something that gives you confidence. It might be listening to some music to pump you up. Some people like to do the power pose. Whatever it may be, give yourself that time to get yourself into that confidence zone before you start the sub-app process, because confidence really makes a huge difference in these applications that we see. And it really shows when someone is confident versus not. So make sure that you're feeling confidence and you're in the zone. And just a side tip as well, if you have a lot of different family members in your household, make sure you tell them that, I'm starting the application process. Do not come into my room and bother me, because a lot of times what I see in my sub apps is the student may be doing a recording video, and it may be 30 seconds to 2 minutes long, and then their siblings or their parents come into the room and they get sidetracked. But for those time responses, you can't pause it. Like once you start, it starts and it will run until whatever the time limit is. So for those students, it really sucks for them because they didn't think that someone would come in and bother them all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden they lose 30 seconds, 40 seconds. So make sure you tell your family ahead of time, or put a do not disturb sign on your door so that they know to not come in. And even better if you have a lock on your door, so you can make sure no one's actually going to come in. So just a few tips. Make sure you're well prepared, make sure you're confident, and also make sure that you're not going to have some side distractions coming in unsolicited. So good luck, everyone.